A customer that came in that was a little upset about how his sandwich was fixed. Believe it or not, it was over too much mayonnaise on his sandwich.
When two girlfriends went to work at Subway restaurant 3 weeks ago, they did it to help support their families, not knowing they'll be victims of a violent customer with a weapon. Brittany Macon, 26, died Sunday night when Atlanta police claimed an armed customer shot her because he said there was too much mayo on his sandwich.
Because of what happened tonight, me and my partners, we're actually reevaluating whether or not we're going to continue to do this in this neighborhood anyway.
Brittany Macon was 26 years old and lived in Atlanta, Georgia. According to her Facebook, she was a student at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. Brittany was beautiful, loving, and very vocal. She was the type of person who would stand up for herself and others. Brittany was loyal and cared about the people around her and who looked like her. She was also very determined, motivated, and hardworking. According to her Facebook, Brittany was a delivery driver at UPS and had just started a job at Subway alongside her friend, 24-year-old Jada. The two had been working at Subway for about 3 weeks and were just getting adjusted to the job, according to reports. Sadly, on June 26, 2022, it was reported that a disgruntled customer went into Subway causing chaos. Brittany and Jada, who were only trying to help, became victims of an unexpected tragedy.
It's scary out here. It's scary out here.
We're learning new information about the person who was allegedly shot over mayonnaise. You heard that right. The person was an employee at a Subway restaurant, just identified as 26-year-old Brittany Macon.
On June 26, 2022, Brittany and her friend Jada went into work at Subway. According to reports, Brittany was preparing sandwiches when the unidentified customer came in to complain about the sandwich. Brittany had offered to remake the sandwich, but the customer said he didn't want that. He then became more aggressive, causing Brittany and her friend to call the police and ask him to leave.
But as most people know, this was a very tragic situation that did not have to occur. What we know is that the suspect came inside the restaurant, ordered a sandwich, and there was something wrong with the sandwich that made him so upset that he decided to take out his anger on two of the employees here.
The customer was still angry, and at around 6:30 p.m., that's when he opened fire. The customer aimed at Brittany and then shot Jada in the stomach and back while she went to protect her 5-year-old son, who was with her at work. According to reports, the store manager, who was armed, attempted to stop the customer, even following him into the parking lot and having an exchange.
My manager was able to exchange fire with him, but of course, you know, he didn't hit him. It kind of ended up as a wild shootout here in the parking lot.
Police responded to the scene at around 7:15 p.m. that Sunday. First responders immediately attempted life-saving measures. However, Brittany was pronounced deceased. Jada was transported to a local hospital and is expected to survive.
So now we have one female deceased and another female recovering from the injuries. And then also there was a 5-year-old child also in the restaurant. So that child was also placed in danger. That child has to go through some type of trauma counseling. So again, this is incidents that we always talk about that did not have to happen, but there's still some residual effects that families are going to have to deal with.
Atlanta police say they arrested the 36-year-old later that Sunday with the help of a tip from someone nearby. Police decided that they would not release the name because they said that this is still ongoing.
I am here to announce that we did make an arrest. We made an arrest late yesterday evening of a 36-year-old male out of Atlanta. As stated before, I won't release the name as right now because it's still an ongoing investigation. We still need to provide some information and get some information from some other individuals. The citizen, we had a citizen who contacted us, who gave us some viable information and who helped lead this investigation in the right direction. So I know there are a lot of questions, and I don't want to give out too much information. We have to remember that this is something that ultimately has to be tried in court. And so some of the details will be in the report that will be released later at a later time. But I don't want to really get into everything that happened because it still has to be tried in court.
According to reports, they are still in the early parts of this investigation, and they are looking through video and interviewing witnesses.
Typically in cases like this, police release a suspect's name within 24 hours, and the suspect has a first appearance before a judge within 48 hours. But even though 11 Alive has repeatedly asked Atlanta police about the suspect, we're told again today they cannot release his name. APD would also not answer our questions about the charges he's facing and if he has a criminal history.
On the contrary, the families of the victims want justice. Brittany's friends, family, and loved ones are all taking time to celebrate the life of their beautiful loved one. Everyone in complete disbelief about what just happened.
That could have been my grandkid, that lost their life over some Mayo, and I do not understand.
People like that we just don't need out in society.
I'm asking everybody, every organization to come together and work together to address this gun violence issue here in Atlanta.
I am completely speechless. I will continue to keep the victims, friends, and family in my thoughts and prayers. I just cannot wrap my head around what just happened. This is completely devastating. Let's please respect the victim in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys. And with that being said, don't forget to check on your loved ones.
Deputy Chief Charles Hampton Jr. I'm here to provide an update on a homicide that we had at this location yesterday, shortly after 6:30. But before I give you the update, first I want to offer condolences to the victim in this case. The victim was a 26-year-old female who is here at work, and we also had another victim who's 24 years of age who also was shot and injured, who's currently in critical condition. I am here to announce that we did make an arrest. We made an arrest late yesterday evening of a 36-year-old male out of Atlanta. As stated before, I won't release the name as right now because it's still an ongoing investigation. We still need to provide some information and get some information from some other individuals. But as most people know, this was a very tragic situation that did not have to occur. What we know is that the suspect came inside the restaurant, ordered a sandwich, and there was something wrong with the sandwich that made him so upset that he decided to take out his anger on two of the employees here. What's more important as well is that the citizen, we had a citizen who contacted us, who gave us some viable information, and who helped lead this investigation in the right direction. As we always say, we can't do it alone. It's oftentimes that we rely on the support of the citizens of Atlanta, and that's what happened yesterday. So kudos to that individual who also is going to be remain anonymous. But quick actions. Once we got the information, officers from our Zone 5 field investigation team as well as homicide descended on the location, and we were able to take the suspect in custody without further incident. And so again, very senseless act that, again, someone armed with a handgun who could not resolve the conflict decided that that was the way to resolve it. And so now we have one female deceased and another female recovering from the injuries. And then also there was a 5-year-old child also in the restaurant. So that child was also placed in danger. That child has to go through some type of trauma counseling. So again, this is incidents that we always talk about that did not have to happen, but there's still some residual effects that families are going to have to deal with, not only the homicide, but this child that's going to have a traumatic incident that they have to deal with. So I'll answer a few questions at this time.
Chief, I noticed that you didn't mention the Mayo in your summary. Is that still the case, that he was angry or upset over Mayo on his sandwich?
Right. And again, I intentionally did not do it because, again, I want the focus to be on the gun violence. And again, it was something very senseless. Yes, the too much mayo on a sandwich. But again, individual with a gun who decided that that was the course of action to resolve the conflict. So yes, it's a sandwich, but more importantly, someone who failed to resolve a conflict by just walking away, having a conversation to just reorder a sandwich, decided to take actions into his hands. And now we have families who are devastated, and even his family. You know, so again, very tragic.
Can you tell us whether or not the child who was inside the store, his mom was the one who shot him?
So his mother is the other victim who's injured. Yes.
Can you talk me through this? Happened at 6:30, busy section. What frustrates you the most about really just a senseless shooting like this?
I mean, it's frustrating that we have a 26-year-old female who is no longer with us. It frustrates me that we had an individual with a firearm who decided that, again, that was the answer to resolve a conflict over a sandwich. Again, it's frustrating for us to having to spend the investigators' time to that's the homicide that we're focusing on. It's just, again, it's a senseless act. It's the gun owners who don't make the right decisions. I mean, again, it's very tragic, and more importantly for me, it's a 5-year-old that was there that's going to have to deal with this long term.
And the mother was the victim who survived?
Yes.
And Chief, a question here. Did the gunman leave and get the gun, or did he have the gun in the restaurant?
So I know there are a lot of questions, and you know, I don't want to give out too much information. We have to remember that this is something that ultimately has to be tried in court. And so some of the details will be in the report that will be released later at a later time. But I don't want to really get into everything that happened because it still has to be tried in court.
The citizen that helped you lead information to get an arrest, was that a witness inside the restaurant?
Again, I'm not going to go into detail.
Can you tell us where you arrested, how far maybe away he was, or
what I will say, I won't give the exact location, but I will say it's close to the incident location.
All right, thank you, everybody.